Alright, well, I suppose it's time to make a video here on my Spektrum DX6 transmitter. I got the transmitter late last year, November actually, on my birthday. It was basically one of the main things I asked for my birthday. Because I was getting more serious about RC planes and just needed something beefier, something fancier, something that allowed more options. The first plane that really kind of got me into flying last year was the Hobby Zone Champ, which I do highly recommend for any beginner, by the way. And it came with this little fella right here. And, you know, like I said, I've flown for quite a few months, you know, using this little transmitter right here. And it just got to a point where it's just like, you know what, I need something fancier. I need something beefier. I need something that doesn't make me want to play Xbox. You know, something that just has a lot greater feature set than what this thing has. Plus, you know, if I walk into any kind of you know, RC flying field, they may laugh at something like this. Yeah, they just I don't think they would take me too seriously with something like that. So, like I said, it was time I needed something a little beefier. You know, and let's be honest. Do you want to use this thing, or do you want to use this thing? This. Hardly any switches and no fancy screen. Lots of switches and a nice big fancy screen. Forget you. Okay, so. But, you know, and like I said, it was just pretty obvious to me that I needed something bigger and beefier. The range on the little transmitter that I was just showing you was only, you know, 400 feet or so I've read. The model memory, the amount of models it can hold, is very small compared to what the Spektrum here will hold. So, you know, it was just time for me to upgrade. So let me go and we'll kick her on here just to kind of show you. Now, I've really not explored a whole lot with the transmitter itself. There's a lot of features here that I, you know, will probably, you know, experiment with more in the future. Right now, I think I've just barely even tapped into what it can do. I have put all my models in there. Of course, Teddy was number 1. That's what I've nicknamed my Champ plane. And if you must know, I named him. It's a Hobby Zone Champ. I named it Teddy Do Champ after Stand By Me. So that's where the name comes from. So this is my Hobby Zone Champ that I've programmed here on number 1. I set all timers on all the models to 6 minutes. That's generally what I average as far as flight time. And it's just a good average flight time to put in there. You know, about 6 minutes. It's generally about time to bring the plane in, land it before the battery completely depletes. So I've set that on all the models. Of course, you can see the screen's all nice, pretty lit up and stuff here. Over here is a scroll wheel. It's also kind of like a push button. So if I push the button in, it'll of course bring up all the different functions that I can do. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of functions that I can do with it. I'll go into system setup here. Just hit yes there. That's just telling me it's going to disable the RF. I'll go into my model select here, and these are all the different models I have set up in it so far. There's only 4, and this thing has the capability of holding a plethora of different models, a lot. So like I said, I've barely tapped into what it can do. Let me hit the back button here and kind of take it back to the main screen. As you can see, there's a lot of different switches and things on it. Some are 2 and 3 position switches. Here's a 3 position switch here. There's a 2 position switch. So there's a lot more switches around it as well. Here's some on top that you can see there. Generally what I do is the A switch here. It is just a simple, 2-position switch. I set that as my throttle cut. So in this position here, I can move the throttle stick up and down, and it does not do anything to the plane. The plane's motor is basically disabled. If I set it to that position, it makes the throttle active, so I can move the throttle, and of course the motor will spin. I kind of set that as an important safety feature on my plane, so I don't accidentally hit the throttle and possibly injure myself or anybody else. So that's kind of some things I already set up with it. Something else I want to show as well. Let me go ahead and kick the throttle up here. There you can see the timer working. While the timer is going, I want to show you something else here as well. Here's the dual rate and expo option. And I'll tell you right now, even with my little transmitter, the one with my Hobby Zone Champ, I hardly ever mess with dual rates or well, really it doesn't even have expo features at all. But, this is something right here I may eventually mess with as well. Believe it or not, for the time I've been flying, I really have not messed with hardly either dual rate or expo. I know basically what they do, but like I said, I just haven't really fooled with it too much. I think I'll probably mess more with expo than dual rates. Dual rates for me doesn't seem to. Oh, watch this.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
Yeah, it talks to me. It's almost like Siri in a way. But anyways, that's a cool feature I like with it as well. I don't have to look at the actual display to see how long it's been going. It'll actually tell me every minute, 5 minutes remaining, 4 minutes remaining. So that way I know where my battery status stands. But anyways, back on the dual rates and expo, I have not fooled with them too much. Even with my little transmitter, I never really messed much with dual rates with it. I just kind of left my plane on full rates and just flew it and got the hang of it. So, but I think expo will be something that I will probably mess with on the DX6 here, since I do have that capability of doing it. And something else I want to get into as well. Let me find it here. I believe it's under system setup. Yeah, the trainer option. I'm planning to later down the road. The DX6 actually has a wireless trainer or buddy box function. So what that basically means is that I can use my my little transmitter here if I want to use it as a slave transmitter to sort of help somebody learn how to fly. I'm hoping at some point to use that to help like my father-in-law, my wife Cassie. I think she's even talked about wanting me to teach her how to fly. So that's something as well that I may play with down the road. And I think that pretty well covers it. I really haven't explored it, like I said, nearly all the features that this thing is capable of doing, but I know it's capable of doing a lot. So, if any of you guys out there have little tips and tricks, feel free to throw them my way. I do highly recommend the DX6. I think it's a great transmitter. Much better than this little PlayStation controller. But like I said, it served its purpose. It's done well. But yeah, I highly recommend the DX6, and I think it'll prove to be great. And later down the road, if I need 7, 8, 9, or 10 channels, then I'll upgrade to the next model. But I think for right now, it's a great little transmitter, and it does well. So if you have any questions or anything, just let me know.